FPS, or first-person shooters, is a subgenre of video games that has been around for probably longer than most of the people watching this video. It was created back in 1992, and the first game to implement this idea was Wolfenstein 3D. I've actually played the game, and it wasn't that bad for a game this old. But if I was around at that time, and had experienced the game at first glance, I would have got my mind blown by how much complex and fun the idea is. It was followed by later in 1993 by its counterpart, Doom. Now that's a title that is almost recognizable by anyone nowadays, thanks to its last two games, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal in 2020. But what made the FPS genre's population bigger is of course the masterpiece Call of Duty. It kept getting better and bigger along the years, until 2007 when Infinity Ward decided to release a Modern Warfare game, and that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That game is basically a golden piece that will never get old. It did everything right, from its setting and voice actors, with memorable characters like Captain Price and Soap, etc. The graphics and performance was just a top notch, and holds up to today's standards. But why is a 2007 game is better than a big chunk of 2022's shooters? Well, strap on your belt cause we are in for a long time probably. The shooters aren't really bad nowadays. As an example, you have Far Cry 6, which I have spent a lot of time playing in a matter of 4 days. And I have gotten very bored by the FPS genre because of how much repetitive it is. There is no cool features like before. For example, Homefront: The Revolution, which has a lot of cool mechanics that I really hope some of today's titles takes notes of. And keep in mind, this is a 2016 game. The reason to why I made this video in the first place is when I saw the trailer for the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I actually had my hands on some leaks before the trailer and teaser was released, and I was anticipating very new modern mechanics, like it said in the leaks, to where the player would react to the weather and the environment around him. For example, when an explosion happens next to him, he would react to it somehow, or when a grenade explodes, there will be a little shockwave to add the immersion in the scene, or when water splashes on the player, he would shake his gun, and a lot more cool features. I know this doesn't change anything to the story, and maybe even the gameplay, but it would be something unique and worth playing the game for, to see where we got into the gaming industry. But from what I saw in the trailer, all they cared about is increasing the details, I think, to 4K. They didn't even pay attention to the other things. That fall from the guy is most certainly scripted, which means it will only happen once, at that spot, and there isn't that cool of ragdoll's physics, or for example the shooting in the game. It literally feels like Modern Warfare 1 with no such changes. I gotta give the game credits for probably making a better plot, since they added so many iconic characters. But I won't buy a Modern Warfare 1 clone just cause it has Ghost in it. So hopefully what they showed in the trailer was just an alpha footage or something unfinished, which means they still haven't implemented this cool shit. And yes, I know I shouldn't trust leaks, but at least they give us hope for something new. But the gameplay trailer is not fun or new at all. It is literally like every ordinary shooter. The reason to why I mentioned Far Cry 6 is because of how much the game is. Specifically when you can play through the whole story with your friends. The game features cool pets, and it takes the RPG style to a whole new level. From crafting cool toys to play with, to the brutal takedowns, and the cool music and variety in gun attachments and in vehicles. It even has that new cool modded jet ski that is drivable in water or on ground, that has been first shown in GTA San Andreas. And actually Ubisoft for once, they didn't really hesitate and went all ham on this game. And it turned out to be so goddamn beautiful. People are literally misjudging the game, and I think because of their hatred for Ubisoft. I mean, yes, they butchered the series after the third installment, but they brought back a lot of things from what made Far Cry franchise rise, and actually they listened, and for once, to what the fans wanted. If you don't know, I follow a very strict sleeping schedule, because I need it for gym and workout and stuff. But goddamn, I fucked it up when playing Far Cry 6. Now, why don't the other games deliver something new? It's so simple, yet complex. Okay, let me elaborate. Big companies like Infinity Ward, etc. are super afraid to implement new features to their iconic titles because they think it might butcher it, and the fans will literally hunt them in their sleep. But in the reality, if they deliver something new not every FPS game has, more people will give it attention, even if they got bored of shooters like in my case. Before I buy it, I'll definitely check its gameplay on YouTube. If I saw something unique, I most likely will try it, but if it is the same Call of Duty from 2009 with extra sprinkles, I won't even bother with it. Listen, I'm not hating on Infinity Ward for anything, because they never promised anything of what I mentioned from the leaks. But to my personal opinion, I grow bored of games in general, and I want to experience something new like Far Cry 6 that actually brought back my passion for games, especially FPS genre. And to be honest, I gotta give credit to Wolfenstein The New Order as well, because even though it might seem like an underrated FPS, which it might be, yet it has those dual wielding options and different approaches from silent stealth kills to going all hand dual wielding your guns killing anyone inside, and also the variety of enemy types and different mini bosses with their high HP rate. It just makes the game far more enjoyable than you'd expect, and especially the gore effect in the game. They just make you feel like you're not shooting with an airsoft gun. And as you can see, even though the genre was carried by Call of Duty Modern Warfare and still dominating with the Warzone, yet Wolfenstein's games are delivering far more content than Call of Duty, in terms of gameplay, not story-wise. Now hear me out, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for shitting on Call of Duty like that, but still, I'm talking about the game from my perspective. I was a sucker for zombies back in Black Ops days, but after they milked it, I just grew bored of it, almost like every other guy who was like that. You can't just keep playing the same game forever, you need changes. For example, in Far Cry, they are introducing new things every time they drop the game. No matter how shit the story is, they make sure when you're sent in a mission, you won't be bored to death with just point and shoot, and you have a lot of cool toys to play around with, and also different gear that grants you different perks and a lot to talk about. And don't worry, I will cover Far Cry 6 soon in the channel, maybe even the most iconic one, 3, but I'm getting ahead of myself. There is a game I'm so hyped for, which is called Metal Hellsinger, which is an FPS arcade shooter, sort of. Now the game is FPS, and it is similar to Doom Eternal in gameplay, but the new features it added is first of all, cool ass metal music, and also you have to play according to the rhythm, much like Guitar Hero and Osu, but FPS. Even though the studio isn't the biggest, nor has a huge funding for their project, but still, the game looks very promising from the demo they released, which you can play literally for free right now in Steam. Or a game that is very well underrated is Ghost Runner, which is technically an FPS in cyberpunk theme world, and you are basically a ninja with a katana, and you can slice enemies in pieces while also having cool platform and parkour setting with a cool grappling hook. Or the BioShock series that was released few months prior to COD Modern Warfare. It has a pretty shitty gun mechanics and aim, to be real with you, but the thing that makes it unique, apart from the story and the beautiful fucking undersea world, is the superpowers, and I enjoyed playing the first one so much to the point where I'm actually working on a video about it. Don't know if I will release it or no, since it is still far away from being done. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. I wanted to do something new and kinda outside from game documentaries, so I thank you very much for watching the video whole. And if you have any games that you'd like me to talk about in future videos, I'll be more than happy to oblige. And without further to say, have a good one.